covered in oil, don't stand next to a fire.
How about a little fire, Scarecrow?
What'd you do with my trailer?
Don't you know the building is on fire?
Fire!
Fire!
Howdy, welcome. Howdy. Or hello. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Trailer Fire. I'm your host, Travis Stevenson, and today I'm coming at you from the Vail Comedy Festival in Vail, Colorado. Put up graphics here. Vail. We're at the Vail Comedy Festival, and first off, what a festival. Do they know how to take care of their people or what? Immediately, they hooked us up with this sick 1980s looking ski lodge, and that's not an insult, it's just retro. Like, look at these throw pillows. They're like Aztec and cool. There's a fireplace in here. No air conditioning, which kind of pissed me off a little bit when I got here. I was walking around like, how am I supposed to sleep at night if I can't turn the temp down to a comfortable 68 degrees? I'm a bear. I need to be in my cave. And I'm walking around, the thermostats don't do shit except turn on the heat. And I'm like, it's almost June. We're knocking on the door of summer, baby. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm gonna be a sweaty mess. And Daddy needs to sleep so he can perform at this comedy festival. And then Kayla's like, why don't you just crack the window? It's like 2 degrees outside. It gets so cold here at night. And immediately, ice cold. I was like, man, this is amazing. Tell you right now, I could move to Vail. I love it up here. They wouldn't have somebody like me because my credit score is not high enough. Vail, very rich town. Lots of dudes with like that butt cut, you know, that long, wavy hair parted down the middle. Finance bros. Like the whole time you're walking around Vail, you can tell that everybody here has touched a lacrosse racket at some point in their life. They know what rowing is. They know like the technical terms. A lot of rich people is what I'm trying to say. So Vail to me, and I don't have a frame of reference for what this town, it's a village. So like when you go to Vail Village, you pull into a parking garage and then you're just in the town. It's all cobblestone streets. And you're walking around lots of little shops and bars. And they're having a bluegrass festival concurrently with our comedy festival. What are the chances they have a bluegrass festival at the same time they have a comedy festival? What are the chances of that? Just as a little poor boy from Tennessee with a comedy dream and also an affection for bluegrass music. This has just been like a dream come. Maybe that's why I love it so much. That and at the elevation, one White Claw and you're tipsy as shit, dude. So this has been a lot of fun. But the only way I can describe Vail, the only way I have a frame of reference in my poor lower class mind, because I did not grow up with money, the closest thing we had to Vail was Dollywood. You know, once you cross into the gates, they've got like some cobblestone streets. It's definitely asphalt, but you could imagine cobblestones, and they've got little shops everywhere. The only difference is no funnel cakes. No funnel cakes anywhere. They do have a Rocky Mountain chocolate factory, and when you're in the Rocky Mountains, a Rocky Mountain chocolate factory hits different. When you're in a mall and you're like going to the Rocky Mountain chocolate factory and right next to it is like a Claire's and a Victoria's Secret, you're in between like thongs and 12-year-olds getting their belly button pierced. I'm not in the mood for Rocky Mountain fine chocolates. But when you're in Vail and you're walking around and everybody's just rich and hot, all of a sudden a candy apple feels pretty goddamn good. When's the last time you guys had a caramel apple? A caramel apple drizzled with like pecans and white chocolate? This is how I know I don't fit in, because I was the only person out of breath from sitting on a bench in Vail eating a caramel apple. I always say like, man, why do people think that I'm poor without even knowing? I could have money. I'm sitting there with a mullet eating a caramel apple and just spilling it all over my face. My caramel stains are now matching my previous ranch stains. Like, rich people don't have stains. That's like a poor person thing, dude. I'm never gonna be accepted by the social elite if I can't master stains. Oh man, we saw some fights too. This was crazy. Okay, so Vail, lots of money. Definitely a lot of people who are wearing Princeton shirts, Ivy League. Like at one of the shows. So the shows up here have been amazing too. Back to the festival. Sorry, I'm jumping all around. I told you like there's not a lot of oxygen up here, so my brain's a little loopy. But back to the festivals, man. Like, first off, they gave me an incredible swag bag. They hooked us up with these awesome digs. They've given us like coupons to all these like cool places, notebooks. I got a hat, a pen. They hooked me up with a Porosos bottle of vodka. Come on now. I'm taking that home with me though, because I don't get paid a lot for comedy, so giving me booze, I mean, that might as well be a $100 bill, dude. I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna be like, this is the first bottle of vodka. Yeah, I'm gonna frame it like this is the, people are like, this is the first dollar my business made. This is the first fifth of alcohol I made with my comedy. Because I speak into a microphone, I somehow was able to produce a bottle of vodka. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but to me, that might as well be fucking witchcraft. That's so cool, dude. Also, they have magicians up here. Part of the festival, they got a close-up magician. Oh my God. Oh my God. I know comedy. Some people are like, it's kind of lame that I'm embarrassed to tell people I do comedy. I would rather rip my dick off and throw it into traffic than to tell people I do magic. But that's just because I care about what other people think. But on the inside, I fucking love magic. This guy was doing close-up magic, pick the card, sign it, and they're like, oh, check your back pocket. He was doing all the Chris Angel shit. And everybody was like, whoa, clap, 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 clap. And I was hard as a rock, dude. I was hard and wet at the same time. I was like, magic is so cool. One of the comedians was like, hey, talking about a Coen Brothers movie. And he was like, who's the magician that they had in one of their movies? I think he's into throwing cards. And I was like, Ricky Jay. It's definitely Ricky Jay. My wife's like, how the fuck do you know that? And I'm like, well, I went down some rabbit holes on YouTube. I've learned how to throw cards before because I thought that would be a shortcut to get pussy. It's not. Don't take the card throwing shortcut. You'll wind up down some other rabbit holes. Like, that's definitely the turn you don't want to make. Man, this is all over the place, huh? They got besides the swag bag and stuff too, they've hooked up Kayla with like a VIP pass. So she's been able to go to we got to do a screening of the Mark Norman and Joe List. They've got this documentary out about like anxiety with comedians and stuff. The anxiety something, I'll flash something up right here. But we got to see a screening of that before it hits theater, so that was super cool.
As you can see, they're all in their head. That's why we analyze. We sit there and think about stuff. It's gonna be bad. You suck. You're not gonna be able to get out of this one. Good luck, you loser. And I gotta go shut up. And then, hey, everybody.
They just did a screening of that movie Anxiety Club with Joe List and Mark Norman and Sarah Tolesh and a bunch of other people, and it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. But it's just neat that they're doing that. See, there's perks at festivals, and that was a perk. These is perks. There was a wine tasting that Kayla got invited to, so we got to go to this wine tasting, and they're swirling it. They've got this sommelier there, cracking open a $100 bottle of wine, and he was giving us all the tasting notes, and then Kayla looks over at me, and she goes, he better not ask me what this tastes like, because all I'm going to say is grape. And I'd be like, yeah, dude, all I would say is wine. It all tastes like wine. It was a $100 bottle of wine. It might as well have been barefoot. I have no idea. I can't taste the tannins. He was like, yeah, there's not a lot of tannins on this. It's a very approachable wine. I'm like, aren't all wines approachable? You just reach out, grab the glass, you sip it, and you pretend it's beer, because it sucks. Wine is disgusting. But, we're around rich people, so I'm trying to, fit in. I'm using words like pontificate. No idea what that means. Oh, man, the show's been awesome. This is what's crazy. At one of the shows, this is how much money is in Vail. At one of the shows, I did really well, and then I go to get off, and one of those finance bros with the long wavy hair just throws up a $20 bill. Fuck! Nothing worse than flubbing a word! After I got off stage, one of the finance bros with the wavy hair that's parted down the middle, and there's he's still wearing a polo, and he's not even embarrassed about it. If I wear a polo, I feel like I work at Best Buy. This guy wears a polo, and he meant to.
Is that your father? You guys just decided to look identical? Bro, he looks like you from the past. Blue polos and conservative haircuts.
I get off the stage, and he flips up a $20 bill. Like he is used to doing this. And he goes, here, buy yourself a drink. And I'm like, how much money do you have that you didn't even realize that you could have just gave me a fist bump? And I would have been thrilled. Because people don't typically tip comics. But this guy is just so used to being like, he doesn't know how to say thank you. Like, I'm sure if his wife does something sweet, he just gives her a $20 bill. Here, buy yourself a drink. And I did. Bought myself a drink. Didn't need to. Because normally I'll have a beer before I go on stage. Just I feel like one or two calms everything down, makes you start getting a little bit more loose, makes the comedy come out a little easier. And everybody's like, oh, be careful, take it easy with the alcohol, take it easy with the booze, because at elevation, it'll get you. It'll get you. And I looked at Kayla, I'm like, I think it's a fucking myth. Because I drank one beer, and I was like, this feels like one beer at home. I got a second beer, and I took 2 sips off it, and then I was like, baby, I'm going to need you to drive. And she's like, sweetie, we walked. And I'm like, well, I'm going to need you to walk me home then, because I'm shithouse wasted. I felt high. Like, my head was spinning, and, like, I was buzzed, and I was like, oh, God, I got to go on stage in, like, 20 minutes. And I'm like, I don't go on stage drunk. Come on, that's so unprofessional. And I was like, I don't know what I went down to the bathroom, I splashed some water on my face, and then it was gone. And then I was like, this fucking rules. You mean that for the price of one beer, I can get shit-faced and then sober up and do it all again in 10 minutes? What? We're moving to Vail. We're moving to Vail. The other thing is you got to stay really hydrated. So, man, I had a great moment earlier. We went out for brunch, and I've been trying to hydrate because the elevation, apparently it helps somehow. And I just know that I was like, fuck, I have to piss so bad. And we go into this brunch spot, and it's one of those things where they have the one genderless bathroom that everybody gets to use, just the one toilet, and I have to piss so bad. And I'm walking up, and the whole time, I'm sure you guys can relate to this, you're just like looking at the handle, and you're like, please, 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 just turn, and you grab it. Oh, and it opened. What is it? There's no better feeling. You're like, you have to piss so bad. And you, conversely, there's no worse feeling than when you're about to piss your pants and you go and you click the door, and then immediately you start making judgment calls on who's behind that door. It's a genderless bathroom, like it's a fucking girl. I know it's a fucking girl. She's not even using the bathroom. She's just scrolling through TikTok. She's redoing her makeup. She's reapplying stuff. She's having a fight with her husband. She's powdering her puss. And like, and that usually is never the case. Usually it's some dude who walked out looking like he just jerked it or something. Oh man. Something else we've been seeing a lot. There's a lot of money in Vail. But I think that elevation is fucking with everybody when it comes to alcohol, because we saw some people get so drunk last night, which is not typically what you see in rich communities. You don't see like rich, highfalutin, like wearing the sweater around their neck, people also being like, Brittany, where the fuck is Brittany? They were just screaming at each other all last night. Like I thought they were going to get into fights. There were several fights, but it was like rich couple fights. And let me tell you right now, that hits different. When it's a hot, rich couple, you know, they've got personal trainer bodies. It's the only way you get that body. And they're just wearing like really, like I have never been able to button up a white shirt and just leave it unbuttoned here. And then it would be perfectly V'd out, showing off my pec muscles with my spray tan and like a gold chain that's actually gold, not that plated shit you got off Amazon with a 40% off coupon from Jackson. Not that I would ever do that. But man, we saw this couple get in a fight, and this girl sits on a bench, and then her man just starts taking off. He just starts angrily walking. Like, and I've done that. I've speed walked away out of an argument. I'd just be like, fuck you. And then you're just like, you just want to get away and remove yourself from this situation. So I've been there, but it doesn't look as cool when I do it, because when I do it, I'm storming out of a Subway sandwich shop, and I'm like, fuck you, bitch. You're not going to tell me the chicken terror. Anyways, I storm off, and I look like an idiot, and my titties are bouncing the whole way, and I'm not in cool clothes. This guy looked like he was dressed in a, you know, he was dressed to the nines, and he was storming off down cobblestone, lit by the beautiful city of Vail. I'm like, it looked like he was in a movie. And then she did the exact opposite of what poor people do during fights. She didn't call back. She was like, fucking stay gone, bitch. I better not see you again. Motherfucker, you ain't shit anyways. She sat down on a bench, folded her dress, and looked away, and one single Native American tear went down her, like, we saw a poor fight too on the way into Vail. So you're so Denver's at like 5,000 feet, and then when you drive into Vail, you're climbing 4,000 feet in elevation. So it's like straight up and down, like these crazy grades. And the best way I can describe Colorado and this whole area, this part of the country, is you will drive forever, and it's just pitch black darkness. And then when you finally hit a city, it comes out of nowhere, and it's huge. It's not like there's gas stations along the way. It's not like there's little towns along the way. The East Coast is so developed. You're constantly driving through towns. Well, out in the West, it's like you're just driving through darkness, and then eventually a giant town pops up, and then you drive back in the darkness. And on the longest stretch, on the hilliest road, and it was like 30 degrees, snow all over the mountains. We're at like 11,000 feet elevation at some point. We see a Subaru just off the side of the road, door opens up and you start seeing shit getting thrown out, and then a guy gets out and starts picking his clothes up off the road, and then she drives off. Now that's how poor people fight. They're like, fuck you, and then she sped off. And I'm like, but it wasn't, because it's like a super, like right here is a perfect parallel. You know, the girl driving down the mountain is the same thing as the guy speed walking away back to his resort. But that's just it. He's speed walking away back to his resort. He's probably gonna go get a fucking massage at the Four Seasons. This dude is standing on the side of the interstate and there's no like turnarounds because it's a 6% grade. Like he's just hanging out with the elk. He's like, he doesn't know it. He's now on an episode of Survivor Man. He's gonna have to fucking figure it out. He's gonna have to start wrapping his clothes together, hoping he gets service. Guess what? There wasn't any. Pretty sure Uber doesn't come to the middle of fucking nowhere. That guy's probably dead. We should have picked him up, but there wasn't a place to turn around. By the time I realized what happened, we were already past it. And dude, I thought about him the whole night. I'm like, I hope he's okay. I hope she comes back and gets him. And I probably need to check the newspaper and see if there's just been a drunk dude with scattered clothing and a broken heart just sitting on the side of a road. You know what else? I love when a city has its own vibe. Like it's got its own little micro culture. Everybody kind of wears the same clothes, same haircuts, they dress the same. It's kind of neat. You know, it's like everyone agrees that, hey, this is what this city represents and this is what we're going to do. And they all just kind of like follow suit. And it's kind of neat. It's weird for me because I've always thought, you know, just be an individual, do what you want to do, walk to the, you know, march to the beat of your own drum. But it is kind of nice when you go to a town and it's got its own vibe to it. Like we just got back from Athens, Georgia for that comedy festival down there. And I think it's maybe UGA that's down there. And boy, howdy, I've never seen a more homogenous population in my life. Like I'm used to in college when a trend comes out, all the girls adopt it. There was one year when I was in school and like all the girls were wearing like tan high like riding boots and black leather vests. They all look like Han Solo. And you'd go to a college bar and there'd be 100 girls dressed in the exact same outfit. And not one of them's like, well, this is embarrassing. One of us has to change. No, they all wore that. But you never saw that with the dudes. The dudes always just dressed like shitty college dudes. Whatever the style was that you could buy at American Eagle at that time, that's what they wore. Well, in UGA, it was the exact opposite. The girls were all dressing like individuals, and the dudes were identical. They'd like fully stolen Charleston, South Carolina's culture. They fully ripped it off because it was just a bunch of dudes wearing Simply Southern t-shirts, a lot of pink, teal, tiny little chubby shorts, little tiny tan hoochie daddy shorts. And then for the shoes, I was thinking probably Sperry's would fit that vibe. No. They went with these On Cloud runners, and they were all dingy and brown, but they looked new. I asked one of the kids, I was like, what in the fuck is going on with your shoes? And he goes, we soak them in tea to make them look dingy and dirty. And I was like, dog, you could also just walk around and do it for free. Like white shoes will eventually look like shit. I don't have a single clean pair of white shoes. And I didn't have to buy any tea or a Rubbermaid tote to accessorize, but it was just so weird seeing the guys all dressed the same. It was wild. And you got kind of the same vibe up here in Vail. Not so much the shorts and that, but a lot of polos, a lot of the middle cut, a lot of dudes who, like, you can tell they fucking ski. They just ski their little hearts out. The main part of Vail, like, it's a small area, but the main part of Vail is, like, the Vail Village. So it's just this, like, you go into the parking garage, and then as soon as you walk into the village, that's it. You feel like you're inside. It feels like an actual village from back in the day. Like, I imagine that back in the day when you had to go through the castle walls and then you were inside of the town, you're just inside of the town. And it's just, I love that. It feels like being on, this is me equating it to something white trash, but it feels like being on a cruise ship. It's like you can't leave. You're inside the thing. So you just have to walk around and there's music playing all the time. There's shops. You're grabbing more beer than you normally would. You're going to get a soft serve ice cream. It rules. I might get naked and jump in the pool. And then, you know, they'll tell you you can't do that. It's a fountain. This isn't Carnival Cruise. This is a city. I mean, like, it's a good thing that I don't have just like a shitload of money and a desire to leave my wife, because if I did, I could easily just be the resident Vail Goblin, dude. I would sleep under the bridge and I would just crawl out and be like, just terrorize the tourists. As crazy as some of the drunks were last night, because it was wild seeing like all the fights between the couples and people yelling and just being obnoxious and crazy. Anytime there was like a wedding, like just random strangers, they would all form a line and they would let the bride and the groom walk down and they would be like, whoa! At first I thought it was obnoxious, but then I got on board real quick. I kind of wanted to jump in, but I didn't because I was too chicken shit, but I should have done it. So they would just be walking down the street to be a guy and a girl. They might not have even been married. It was just a guy, and then the girl had to be wearing a white dress. And then everybody would just form 2 rows and give them a little hallway to walk down and then give them a sparkler send-off and just scream. And like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So as rowdy as those drunk people were, I did see the most polite drunk person I've ever seen in my entire life. We're at the late show. It's like the show starts at 10:30. So it's super late. Everybody's been drinking all day, going to the earlier shows. It's a little rowdy. And we walk into the show, and the venue that it's at is kind of hot. So they've got the door open so air can come through, just like this ski lodge here. I don't guess anybody has AC up there because they can just crack a door and cool it off like that. So they got the door open, and you're hearing all these drunk people go by, and they're doing one of those sparkler send-offs again. They're all just woo and screaming. And the guy on stage goes, damn, I'm bombing because everybody's more interested in what's going on outside. And then this drunk guy stands up and he goes, well, my consciousness has escaped me. And then he goes to walk out. And I was like, did he just say his conscience has escaped him? And then he walked out. I'm like, is he gonna go fight these people? And immediately I was like, this guy really wanted to watch the comedian on stage. And he was just gonna go yell at these people. But he doesn't. He walks outside and he stands around and he starts looking around. And he starts feeling his body, and he is so fucking wasted that he is just like swaying. And then he walks back in, he reaches over me and goes, pardon the reach. And he grabs his jacket that he forgot, and then he leaves. And I was like, oh, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. This guy, his consciousness has escaped him, was him going, oh, I am blacking out. I need to remove myself from this situation before it gets any worse. And I was like, holy shit, could you imagine? If anytime somebody was going to be a drunk problem, they just turned into that sweetie pie. Oh my God, the relationships we could have saved in college. If Keely would have just removed herself from the party, would have just stood up, said pardon the reach, and then just got the fuck out and went to bed. There's no Uber up here, by the way, either, so I don't know how people are just getting fucking DUI. Well, I know why they're not getting DUIs, because their dad is like, their dad's a judge. It's like, my dad is actually Mr. Vail, so... Maybe you've heard of us? We own Vail Chevrolet. Dude, I still can't even fathom like the type of money these people have. I'm assuming you're rich if your dad owns a car dealership. Because those are the rich kids in our town. It's not just me. Kayla had a poor moment too. Because we were walking through the streets and then we heard like ding, 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 ding. And Kayla goes, oh, it must be one of those trains that they let the kids ride at like shitty little festivals, or sometimes you'll see them at a mall. And we turn around and it's a giant 3-decker, like 3-length long bus with those extensions, and it's all electric. And the ding was just because you couldn't hear the engine. And I was like, fuck, we almost got fully smashed. But like we go to turn around and expect to see like a touristy trap, pay $5 and let your kid ride this dumbass train, which is really just like a John Deere lawnmower that somebody decided to put a Thomas train face on. And no, we turn around and it's a bus, and I was like, no. That's why they don't need Uber, because they have fucking electric public transportation. This is how wild this place is. They have these giant electric buses to pull you from one end of the city to another, which may be a quarter mile. It can't be much more than that. You can walk the whole place super quick. So why the fuck you would need a bus that expansive? I have no idea. But I guess when you got money to burn, fuck it. Make it longer. Hell, make it longer again. Shit, do it again. Get it a 4-decker bus. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah, we got a super long. A lot of Tacomas up here, man. A lot of cowboy shit, too. There's a big difference, too. There's a big difference between cowboy, or like, let's say country, and redneck. Because we walked into this store called Kimosabi. And I was like, sweet. And they had cowboy hats on the wall, and they had like all these leather boots, and they had a branding station. So if you bought something, they'll brand it. And they had like all these accessories, just feathers and turquoise, and it was pretty sweet. But you could customize your own hat, and they would fit it to your face. And like, I don't need a cowboy hat. I'm not a cowboy. If I do it, it's just going to be cosplay. It's going to be a costume. But all the rich dudes in Vail, if they don't have the finance bro cut, they're wearing a cowboy hat, and they just look like they own a cattle ranch. It's awesome. So I was like, fuck it, I'll get me a cool costume party hat, and I go to put one on, and I go to take it off. I look at the tag. The base model hat, that's how you have to say it. The base model hat with 0 upgrades, $1,800 for the cheapest one. What? And that's not without any shaping, branding, no turquoise, no hat knife. They've got these things called hat knives. It looks like the knife that they give you on a charcuterie, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Do I cut the pastrami? Like, it can't even scoop the jelly out of the jar because it's so small. She goes, it's a hat knife. They have a magnet on the back of it. It'll clip to your hat, and you can walk around with a little knife on your hat. She obviously didn't sound like that. $350 for a novelty accessory knife that goes on your hat. And I'm like, there is such a divide between country and redneck, because it's wild, because you think cowboy hats and you think that's like country music. You think that's like rednecks, but it's not. All those dudes are wearing trucker hats and Justin boots with the square toe. These motherfuckers wearing rounded toe, ostrich boots, hand stitched, Luke Casey, $10,000. Have you heard of us? Like, it's very different because we're in Vail. It's a ski town. Everyone's driving a Tesla and they're walking around in cowboy outfits. It's pretty fucking cool. So, like, I've realized that I don't want to be a redneck. I want to be a rich cowboy. I want a fancy hat with accoutrements. I want a hat knife. I want you to brand a little T in the back of it so people know it's mine. Oh man, there is an abundance of people walking around with those like hipster Amish hats. You know, it's like they're wearing like a shitty t-shirt that they pay $200 for, but it looks tattered. And then they just have this big, giant Quaker Oats fucking hat. For what? What is it? Are you protecting the sun from your face, or are you just telling people that you're an insufferable prick? But kind of jealous. Kind of wish I had one of those too. Oh, and it's not just the Western shop that's overpriced either. It's like all the restaurants too. We were walking around just looking for a place to eat. We see this steakhouse in the bottom of a hotel. And Kayla's like, I could go for a steak. We go to pop in there. They've got the menu on the wall. No prices. That's first red flag. Like, you got to give me the prices. Like, that's how you turn away the people in the beginning. You're just like, you don't want to come in here. Well, we go, we sit down, we open up the menus. We're sitting down. And wouldn't you know it, two of the people who saw me do comedy earlier were sitting in the table next to us. So they talked us up. So now I open the menu and I look at the price of a steak, and you can get a bison ribeye for the low, low price of $280. And I was like, what? But I can't do that because I'm too embarrassed. Because there's people I was just talking to. I don't want to be like, oh, hey, what's going on? And they're eating their food. I'm like, it's good to see you again. And then I just open up like, what in the liberal fuck is this? 208, eat the rich. God damn it, I'm voting for Bernie. I can't do that and then just flip the table and leave. So what did I do? We sat down and we both ordered a filet and spent $180 on steak that wasn't even that good. I'm gonna be honest. You know, if I'd have had my druthers, Texas Roadhouse been just as good. I'm telling you. Because I mean, shit, for the price of $20, I would have also got bread. Not that shit where they make you pay for the side separate. Come on, dude. If I'm buying an entree, just throw me in a side. It's a potato. It's a potato. But all in all, Vail, super great city. If you ever get a chance, come visit. This place fucking rules. This has been one of the best festivals I've ever been a part of. Mark Masters runs it, and that dude is a gem, man. He made me download Slack. I'm like, what is this, a corporate job? What am I selling insurance for Allstate? What do you want to get Salesforce too? I didn't understand why we had to download Slack, but then we were messaging each other through it, and it's just had all the updates. Hey, the after party is at this time. We're going to be meeting here. There's going to be this here, and it's been super nice because at a lot of the comedy festivals you go to, communication is kind of lacking when it comes to, hey, we're all meeting up at this restaurant if you guys want to come hang out, network, grab some food. Hey, this bar's giving us a discount. Like, and man, have they not figured out the discounts too. They give me like a fistful of tokens, like these wooden tokens, and you just take them to pretty much any establishment in town and they give you some sort of a discount. Not at the place we got a steak. That'd have been nice. 10% would have been $20. What? Don't make good financial decisions. Oh yeah, but this festival has been really great. I've got 2 shows today. I'm hosting one, at 3, and then I've got another one at 5. And an interesting thing about this festival is they won't let you recycle material, because Vail isn't like, another city where you've got a bunch of random people coming in and out. It's pretty much the people who are here for the weekend are here for the weekend. It's almost exclusively a tourist town, so everybody's in the resorts and such. So what that means is people who bought passes to the festival, they're coming to every show. So if they don't want to see the same material, I get that. But yesterday, I might have burned all my good shit. I did like all of my closing bits, and I squeezed it into 7 just because I wanted to have a good set. And now I'm like, dang, I got to do 2 more sets, and I don't have an opener. I don't know what I'm going to end with, so I'm going to have to try to figure it out. So these shows could go all through, and it's at 3 o'clock. And then I've got another one after that. So I've got a 3 o'clock show and then a 5 o'clock show. I've got 2 early shows, which make me nervous because whenever the sun's out, it seems like it's a tougher audience. I don't know how many people want to laugh at 3 o'clock when they haven't started drinking yet. And there's a bluegrass festival going on outside, and it's a beautiful day. So I'm a little nervous about those shows. I don't quite know how they're going to go, so maybe I'll jump back on here and let you guys know. Or maybe I'll just put a graphic up. He crushed. If I get another $20 tip, I'm going to let you know. I gave that guy one of my stickers. I don't know if you guys can see these. Hot new merch. I printed 50, and I gave away 2. One to the guy who gave me $20. I basically sold him the sticker for $20. And then another girl comes up to me. I do the thing that comics do where after the show, they go stand by the door and they're waiting, and I'm the only one. I look like a total asshole. I'm the only comic standing there waiting. I'm like, I'm going to give out my stickers, and hopefully I can convert them to some followers. And then this girl walks up to me and she goes, that was a really great set. I'm like, thanks, here, take a sticker. And I handed it to her, and then I look down and I see that she has a comedian badge on as well. And I'm like, fuck, I just gave one of my coworkers a sticker. And she's like, I felt so stupid. But this whole podcast is just me talking about how I feel poor and stupid. That's a trailer fire for you. Of course, I'm not poor or stupid. I'm smart as fuck, boy, and I've got tens of dollars in my account. All right, so we got 2 shows left, a 3 and a 5. I'm very nervous about those because they are early shows, so I'll probably pop back on here and let you know how that went. So I will report back later. All right, and we're back. We just finished up the shows. There is still the headliner show going on in a little bit, and then after that is an after party. So we might go out, network a little bit more, turn up a little bit. That's kind of the whole point of comedy festivals. Like, it's awesome getting guaranteed shows in markets I would never go. Like, I would never try to reach out and book a show in Vail just on a whim, because that's just it's too far away and it's too niche. It's just this little ski town. But with the festival, it's like, dude, you're guaranteed 4 spots at all these shows, and so that's great. The guaranteed shows rules, but the other great thing about festivals is just the networking. So I'm here with like 20 other comics. We don't have anywhere else to go. We're all eating together, drinking together. It feels like summer camp. So you really get to know these people, make some really good connections. And that is where the real value in a comedy festival is, because, after this weekend's over, the next time I'm in one of the cities of these comedians, I can just hit them up on Instagram, and it's going to be way easier to try to book a show than it would be if I was, just blindly emailing a club. So that's cool. And then also this club, the swag just keeps on coming. If the swag bag wasn't enough, if the Porosos vodka wasn't enough, if the 1980s definitely girls have been roofied in here ski lodge wasn't enough, I also got a gift card to a place called Aviator Nation. I walked in there. This is where this hoodie is from. You could check out this sweet lightning bolt. Look at this. Ka-chow, baby. Look at that lightning. If they gave me a gift card for this place, and immediately I walked in and I was like, dude, this is not me. This style's a little flamboyant. It's out there. All the material's thin. I need a thick shirt. I need a heavyweight cotton. I'm trying to cover my nipples. Do you understand me? I need something thick. I tug at my shirt a lot. It's a fat guy insecurity thing. I need something that can withstand the constant tugging. And soft, supple, thin material ain't it, Chief. So I walk in there and I'm like, man, I don't even really want anything, but I pick out the stuff. And I take it to the counter and they're like, I'm sorry, your gift card's not working. Could you come back when my manager's here? And I go to walk out the store, and immediately I was like, I don't even want that stuff. I probably won't even go back. And then I make it 5 steps, and I'm just like, but that is my gift card. Isn't that funny? That, like, we say we don't even want things, but when somebody gives you something and they take it away, even if you don't want it, you're still just like, there's still a sense of loss. You're like, but that was my sweatshirt with the lightning bolt on the back of it that shows off my nipples and love handles. That was mine. I need that. Yeah, so as far as the swag goes, this festival has been top tier. They gave me like 2 notebooks. I keep using these little wooden tokens. I think I have 1 left. Check this stuff out. Wooden tokens. Do you hear that? And you just take it, and it feels awkward because I've never done that. I've never walked into a mom and pop coffee shop and just been like, hey, they gave me this wooden token. It says it's good for like a free coffee. And they're like, oh yeah, for sure, we got you, dude. So that's been really cool to use. And then there's this ice cream place that I've been smelling it. I've been seeing the lines. It's called Sunday. Kids have been lining up all weekend to get hot fudge sundaes with gummy worms and all kinds of crazy horse shit from this place. And I had a coupon for it, and I was like, I need to be doing good. I've got my brother's getting married, so I got a wedding I'm trying to slim down for, so I'm not the fattest guy in the photo. I bought a medium shirt. Boy, howdy, was that ambitious of me. I bought a medium shirt, and I'm just like, it's going to be hilarious when I have to just fucking duct tape it shut. So I wasn't going to go get a sundae, but then we're just like, fuck it. Went in Vail. We're already drunk off 2 beers. I dipped a half a Zen. I'm ready to get crazy. Like, if my wife's not going to give me anal, then I'm going to get a hot fudge sundae. I'm getting chocolate one way or another. You know what I'm saying? So we waited in line, got a hot fudge sundae, and I swear to God, it has to be the elevation because I ate the hot fudge sundae and I feel high. I feel like I'm buzzing. Like I'm a bass string that somebody just plucked and I'm just going. It's awesome. Can't sing the praises of this place enough. Also, can't stay here any longer. I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm like every time I blow my nose, it's just blood. Is that too personal? Yeah. All right, let's get back to it. So the 2 shows, all right? There was the 3:00 show. Get in there. I'm supposed to host. And I show up a little late just because I couldn't find the place. So, I'm still early. I'm like 5 minutes early, but that's enough to stress me out. I'm the type of person, if I'm the host of a show, I want to be there like an hour early, 30 minutes early. That way they can give me the rundown. I can get all the information about the people, the what I'm supposed to say to bring them up, how to work the lights, this, that, and the other. I'm getting there right on time, and they're using a timer system that I've never used before. It's just a CrossFit timer. So it's a big clock that, counts up your time. Incredible. Remote control. Definitely got it off Temu, but worth its weight in gold. Because no comic ran the light. All I had to do was just use this remote control to just be like, start, stop, reset. And that was the worst part because I just looked like an old man. I was like, does anybody have any reading glasses? Could not get the fucking remote to work to save my life. But, it's a host set. And I don't know if you know anything about comedy, but when you're hosting, you're going first. And it sucks because, you want to warm the crowd up. But then you're also never gonna be the best person on the show because you're just the host and nobody gives a shit about the host. They're waiting to see the comedians. You're just the guy that's wrangling the clowns. That's all you are. So when I come out, I know that it doesn't matter what I do, it's not gonna be the best. But I've done some pretty good host sets. This was not one of those. It was fine. I decided, it's this festival, you can't do any recycled material. It has to be new sets every time you go up. So I was like, you know what? I've got some old jokes that I know work. And I've got some brand new jokes that I don't know if they work. It's a host set. It's a Wednesday. It's an early show. Fuck it. What's the worst that could happen? It should have went with the tried and true. It was fine. It ended up being a really good show. And then the 5:00 show, the only knock I'll say on this festival was that show was too long. It was like a 2-hour show. And when it's a showcase and you're just bringing up comedian, 7-minute sets for 2 hours, it's exhausting. This is a comedy festival. So unlike music, like at a music festival, you can get drunk and ambiently listen to music. Like you're not even actively paying attention. The music's in the background. So you can listen to a music festival for a weekend. And it's not mentally draining because you don't necessarily have to pay attention. You can be talking with your friends. Nobody really gets mad if you're like walking around and eating a funnel cake or whatever. That's not the case with comedy. Like if you're talking with your friends, they'll ask you to be quiet. Everyone is supposed to sit and pay attention and listen to the comedy. So by the 3rd day, I get it. People are a little worn out. And this show was a little long, so it started off like a packed house. And then by the time I got up, I was second from last. There might have been 10 people left in the room. And I was like, I've still got to give it all I've got. I got to give it some gusto. So I went out there and I tried as hard as I could. And I ended up having a really good set. But still, the same thing I've been preaching this whole episode, man, was just the wage gap was something that I just couldn't overcome. There were certain things that I was talking about that there was just no frame of reference for these people. Like, I was making a joke about how the joke is simply, me and my wife, we try to copper IUD, and that's dangerous, especially where we live, because meth heads are always looking for copper. Made that joke, the out-of-towners got it. All the people from Vail were like, excuse me, what? And then I was talking about cutting off catalytic converters, and they're like, excuse me, what? I was trying to make jokes about NASCAR, and I'm like, I can tell this isn't a NASCAR crowd. This is a crowd that's like, wait, you mean the drivers drive their own car? They don't pay a chauffeur? It was wild. You could tell that. I made a joke about tanning beds earlier. They didn't know what tanning beds were. They're like, oh, no, we're just naturally red. That's from all the years of inbreeding in our royal family's history. We're just naturally red-faced from all the alcohol and the high credit score, dude. It was, just apparently when you own 15 lake houses, you're just going to have a natural glow about you. So, and I hate doing that during comedy when you're trying to be like, you guys know what I'm talking. I had to do a show in Iceland one time, and I've got a joke about my mom making me cut a switch, and all Southerners know what I'm talking about. Your mom made you go pick your own switch off of a tree, a limb that she would spank you with. Well, here's the thing about Iceland. They don't really have trees. The trees they do have, they only grow to be like 8 feet tall. So nobody is going out and using that for corporal punishment. You know what nobody's rearing their children with these goofy elf sprigs. These damn Keebler elf trees. So the whole time I was out there, a lot of the comedians were just like, do you guys have this out here? Do you know what I'm talking about? When I say cutting, it was so stupid for me because I was like, everybody else was talking about specific brands. Like, do you guys have Kleenex out here? Do you guys have Netflix? And I'm just like, do you guys have trees? Do you guys know what trees are? And that's kind of, as insane as that is, it's kind of what it felt like tonight. I was just trying to talk to these people and I'm like, do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say... Like, it blew my mind. They had no idea what tanning beds were. And I'm like, are you guys fucking shit? You've never even heard of in a movie? You've never walked by a Planet Fitness and just wondered what was in the... And no. That's just a different level of social status when you have no idea what a fucking tanning bed was. And then you're just like, well, strap in, because I've got about 6 more minutes on tanning beds and tanning bed culture. Oh, man. All in all, though, it went great, another great successful festival run and just treating it like a vacation. Like, I understand that, like, the idea of a comedy festival probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people who aren't in the comedy game because it's not like I'm getting paid a lot of money for these shows. A lot of times you don't get paid anything to do a festival. It's just like you have to pay them for a chance to get on the festival. And then you still... Like in this case, I had to buy my own plane ticket. I had to, sort of figure out my lodging. I've got to pay for all my food. They give free pizza here and there. But you are spending money. Don't get it twisted. You are spending money to come out here. So if you're looking at this like it's a business, well, this is a bad business decision. But I don't. I look at it like, hey, I've got a really fun hobby. There's this really cool thing that I do that I would love to go pro at. And my wife and I love traveling, so I'm just like, well, fuck, let's use this as an excuse to travel. So now we're in Vail, and not only are we in Vail, we're in Vail with friends. We get to go out every night and hang out with funny people and just shoot shit about shared experiences and how crazy this show was and that. So for me, it's an incredible amount of fun. I don't know how much value you actually get out of a festival. I don't know how many bookings I'm going to get from this. I don't know how many, I think I've had 6 people follow me on Instagram, which is dope, but that's definitely not going to move the needle and help me sell out bigger clubs. So I don't know. I don't know how beneficial these are for the career, but they are definitely fun. They're certainly a barrel of fun. I mean, look at this. I get to kick it in this sweet ski lodge. I haven't even turned on the fireplace yet. You guys want to finish this out next to the fireplace? Fuck it. 3, 2, 1. Can we get the sound on that? Oh, look at that. So we're going to finish this out next to the fireplace. This is the exact opposite of a trailer fire. This is a controlled gas log fireplace. And why are they so blue? Blue blood, blue flames. It's just rich people shit. This is kind of the end of my festival run this year. I think I'm also in the Windy City Comedy Festival that's coming up in August, so I'll be out in Chicago. That's going to be a fun one. They just announced the stages. I'm going to be at 3 different theaters, so that's going to be a ton of fun. So if you're in Chicago, be sure to just check my Instagram. I'll be posting more about that. You know, that's a big reason I'm doing this podcast is just so you can kind of follow along on my comedy journey, because there's not a lot of people who are in my unique situation. There's a lot of famous comedians with podcasts. There's a lot of struggling comedians with podcasts. I don't know if there's a lot of people who are in my situation where we're in transition. You know, I'm trying to go from not just an open micer anymore, not just someone who's locally famous and, you know, headlines their local club. I'm trying to start traveling, and I'm trying to become a professional comedian. And that's just a weird spot because there's no manuals on how to do this. There's no manuals on, you know, how many people should you reach out to? How many rejection letters should you get? You know, is $200 and a plate of chicken wings worth your time to drive to Sioux Falls, South Dakota? I don't know. It's what we're all figuring out. I'm going to start posting some more vlogs and behind-the-scenes stuff for people who are into comedy, for other fellow aspiring comedians, and then for people who just love, you know, the shitstorm and talking about crazy, you know, anybody who's into a story that starts with, no, you're not going to believe this. Tons of that coming up. That's all we're going to do is be interviewing, you know, more people, listening to their stories. I'm going to get Murphy back on the podcast. I know you guys love him. He just couldn't come to Vail with me. I couldn't fit him in my carry-on because he's a big old boy. So, you know, it's 50 pounds was the weight limit before I had to pay extras. So he hit that. And then we're done. We can't have any more in our carry-ons. So, man, this fire's getting hot. So, yeah, this has been my experience at the Vail Comedy Festival. It's been a ton of fun. This has been a trailer fire. Check me out May 30th. That is my birthday show at the Wallace Theater in Johnson City, Tennessee. It's Travis Stevenson and friends. I've got some of my favorite comedians coming out for the show. It's going to be a good time. So May 30th, Johnson City, Tennessee. Come out and see your boy. Have some cake with me. Buy me a drink. Buy me 2 drinks. I'm easy. All right, guys. This has been a trailer fire. We'll catch you next time. Love you. Bye.